1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod.
And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. We're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen,
Southside Pod.
Blue Island, Beverly, Payless, and Allsup too. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oakland, Midlothian,
Southside Pod.
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
Why are you going to Northern Illinois
My
University?
nephew is at Northern Illinois University and
Party school. Is it still a party school?
I don't know. I've never been there.
You've never been there?
Never.
I went up there when we were in college.
Okay.
Years ago.
Yeah, I just went to
And that was a party
ISU,
school.
Eastern, Purdue. Like I went to like the South ones. I never went up north.
Oh God, that was one of those nights where I
my
remember,
nephew's in a-
I didn't think I was going to ever make it home. It
Great.
was a crazy evening.
My nephew's in a fraternity, and I guess it's parents' night or weekend or day or something like that. And his parents bought tickets to Florida for my sister's 50th birthday like months ago,
So
they
you're
couldn't go.
filling
So I said,
Uncle
I'll go.
Uncle Bill's going to go
Right.
see his dad for a weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun.
Right.
No, this is really fun. Think about this. I remember Dad's weekend at U of I, you know, when my dad would come down. First of all, you get ready to spend some money. These kids are like,
What,
they don't eat
$100?
very
I could
well.
buy the whole bar, probably.
Right. I remember like you want to take them out for a meal beforehand. I remember
course,
that was always
yeah.
the thing. The dads hit town and you fed them a regular meal
Right, they
instead of
haven't
like fast
eaten
food. Right.
well and-
like, hey, I'm taking you out for a steak or pork chops
Right.
or something. You know what I'm saying? Like get you some real food,
Sure.
you know, it's prepared in a kitchen and delivered by somebody who doesn't smell. Like something like that.
Yeah.
Like in a real with napkins on the table.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. And then when you're done with that, you're in the bar and you know, you're probably the guy. They're going to keep looking at you for every round.
Right.
You're ready for this, right?
The wife and I went to Bradley, 6 months ago or a year ago, and it was the same thing where it was funny because it just started with my nephew and his girlfriend, and we were like just buying rounds and shots and everything like that. And all of a sudden, like, oh, my friends are coming, and then 2 or 3 more
You're
of
buying
their
for
friends came in,
everybody.
and I'm walking down with trays of Fireball. They cost me like $6, and I got like 30 of them on the tray. Hey, I'm buying a round. Like all of a sudden, by the end of the night,
You're
we had
halfway
like,
through it, and you're like, you're all 21, right?
we had about
don't tell me,
40
don't tell
people
me.
in our entourage like calling me Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill, buy the whole bar. I don't
Oh,
care.
yeah, that can get dangerous.
It was fun.
But because the thing is that people take care of you when you're young. So I can imagine
Right,
when you're
pay
in a
it
place like
forward.
that, you're paying it forward.
Right.
You're doing. I remember I have cousins that are about 10 to 12 years behind me. And even now, like I have one cousin who's like in his mid 20s. And when I run into him in a bar, like up until recently, like now he's got a really good job. Okay. I mean, guy makes buck.
Yeah.
Okay? He's probably making more than I am. All right. But when he was younger and I bumped into him 3-4 years ago, I was like, I would just buy. Because I felt like his father would buy for me when I was that age.
Yeah.
If he ran into me in a bar, he'd buy for me. So I'm like, I got to buy for him now.
Right.
You
The
know?
sad thing is I feel younger. Like, I'm talking with my wife, and I was like, we're going to feel like, like all the parents are going to be there. And she's like, you're 45. You're the same age, if not older, than probably most of the parents.
Right. There are some
of a
parents that are
20-year-old.
younger than
Like,
you.
they don't care that you started late and had a 4-year-old.
No.
yeah, so
no,
it's
because I'm
gonna be the same.
45 and I got one that'll be
Right.
in college in 2 years.
Exactly, so-
yeah, you're there, dude.
I
You're in
know.
that range. It's weird.
It's very weird because I
Yeah.
even just started late. That's all.
yeah.
Whatever.
It's not. It's going to feel weird doing it.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
But I think I feel younger because.
well, yeah, we all feel younger in a college bar.
Well, I
We
feel
all start
younger-
convincing ourselves we're just like these guys.
I feel
You
younger
know
that I
what?
don't have a 20-year-old kid too.
You know what? I'm pretty much the same age as you guys. Like, yeah, I'm going to start telling this girl over here I'm a grad student. She's like, you don't go to school here. You look older than my dad. Like, no. I'm pre-med.
Right. So I'm a little worried about.
Couple of drinks, you start convincing yourself you could pass for
Right.
one of those kids. I'm sure you do.
Right.
You know? Like, I'm young looking. You're in the mirror in the bathroom. Some kid's puking in the stall next to
Yeah,
you.
right.
And you're like checking your hair and you're like, you know what?
Looking up what like the top hits are, like
Right.
You guys listen to the new Kid Leroy song?
Hello.
I love it.
Hello, fellow young people.
You want to go out and skateboard and listen to MGK?
How about that The Weeknd guy?
Right, references that are like still like 3 years old.
Did you guys hear the new Fall Out Boy? That's old. It is? Like, I'm still one of those people that sits around and says, I don't know, man. There's really no bands that put out like 3-4 consecutive albums ever since the late 90s. Like, I'm still convinced of that. Like, Fall Out Boy and Imagine Dragons are like massive acts. And I'm like, well, you know, they're not real bands.
Well, I said this to my wife.
They're not
I
the
said,
Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana.
The last few years, the Lollapalooza lineup comes out, and I'm like, I don't know 90% of these bands on here. And I was like, God, I feel old. And this year solidified how old I was.
How many bands?
Well, I couldn't
Metallica's on there.
The poster it's got the big bands on top, and then the font was too small at the bottom of the poster. I couldn't even read it. So that solidified how old I was, where I couldn't even read the bottom of the poster.
I want to see what the Lollapalooza 2022 lineup is.
Metallica.
I knew they were on it.
Like,
I want to see how many
like
people here I know.
all over again.
Let's see how many people here that I know.
Okay, what are you considering know? Heard of, or can name one song?
Okay, let's see here. Let's see. I'll go through them. Let's see if we can. We'll see. Have you heard of them? And can you name their song? Okay.
Like their hit song.
Hit song.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Metallica.
Yes.
I can name a billion songs. I'm not even going to do this. Okay.
Yes.
Like, we know that one. Okay. Dua Lipa.
Heard of her, and I can name one song.
I can do that too. That one that she...
Levitating.
Yeah, Levitating. I'm levitating.
With Da Baby.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if he's on there, but that counts.
She's already been like accused of like stealing that song.
Of course.
Some reggae band.
Right.
And I've heard them side by
Dua
side.
Lipa.
She totally stole
I couldn't
that
pick
song.
her out of a lineup. I have no idea what she looks like.
Oh, she's pretty.
Is she?
Yeah, she was like a model and who started singing.
Anyway.
Right, okay.
We know of her and know a song.
Yeah, okay. J. Cole. He's on the headline.
Isn't that a shoe guy?
I have no idea who this is.
Oh, that's Kenneth Cole. I don't know who
what
J. Cole is.
What are you wearing? The new J. Cole?
Yeah, the new J. Cole.
I have no idea what
Where'd you get that sweatshirt? Over at J. Cole's?
Old guys.
I had J. Cole's cash and I paid for it.
We've now reached the point in the program.
Number 3? We don't know?
Yeah, he's the third name on there. Somehow in front of Green Day.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
What? Are you kidding?
That's my parents' music.
Green Day can play every song in their library and be done in an hour and a half.
Well, yeah, they're 2-minute long songs.
I mean, they could go through everything, I would think. Okay.
But the kids still think it's parents' music, right?
Right.
It's novel that they're there.
Right. Those are the 4 that are right up at the top.
By the way, think about this.
And we only know, we know 2 of them well. One of them I know that she's pretty.
Yeah.
You can't even pick her out of a lineup. And we know one song.
Green Day was popular, let's say 1992, right? Maybe their album first came out?
Yeah, all the way through, about 2001,
which is
2002.
what, 30 years ago?
Right.
Well, when Green Day...
I saw the Dookie tour.
It
was 45 minutes, and they played their hit song twice.
Let's just say we went to in Lollapalooza, like, say, 94. That's like seeing a band from 1964 playing. That'd be like the Hollies or some random, like, band from the 60s playing Lollapalooza to these kids nowadays.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
By the way, special guest Jane's Addiction going to be there.
I don't think they're going to play.
It says special guest.
The fact that they say special guest.
Yeah, maybe they're not playing. They're just going to come out so they can feel good about themselves?
Yeah, they're just going to have some slam poetry session.
I never liked them very
showing
much.
your support to Ukraine.
I was never a big Jane's Addiction
I love
fan.
Jane's. I've seen them multiple times.
All right.
I think they're great.
Let's get to the next line here. Okay.
But he runs the festival, so why wouldn't they do it?
Of course. Doja Cat.
Heard of her.
I've heard of her. She's got a
song.
I've
listened to a song.
She's got a song, and I remember I sat in the car with my kids thinking to myself, I'm changing the channel while I was listening to the lyrics because it wasn't appropriate for my 6-year-old.
Oh, wait. I know. She plays a song, and it's only because I work with a couple of like Gen Zers.
Gen Zers, huh?
I call them millennials, and they get mad at me. Like, no, I'm Gen Z. I'm like, whatever.
And I'm like, you know what? That's stupid. They just didn't know what to call the people after Gen X.
She's got a song called like
just
"She's
going.
My Best Friend."
Okay.
And then the next line is "She's a real bad bitch."
Yeah, right.
But yes,
Poetry.
okay. So I'm
Poetry.
Wow, I'm like.
Then we have Machine Gun Kelly.
I'm familiar. I've seen them open for Limp Bizkit.
So Machine Gun Kelly was a rapper.
Married to Megan Fox.
He's not married yet, but he's hitting
that.
You know what? Here's the thing. His music sucks, but I got mad respect for him.
There's one song that was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. He was a rapper who tried to get into a rap battle with Eminem.
Oh.
And they were doing diss tracks, and he gave up on rap and started doing pop songs because he couldn't beat Eminem. That's how I remember him. Okay. Lil Baby.
Is that different than Da Baby?
There's a lot of babies out there. I don't know him. Kygo. I've heard of Kygo.
I thought that was a tiger's name. Isn't that like a tiger from a Disney movie?
Glass Animals, I've heard they have one song. I've heard it on Q101, which isn't called Q101 anymore. It's just WKQX. This is something that people don't understand. No.
Everything has changed.
They were never able to get the name Q101. So if you listen to them, and I've talked to DJs on that radio station, that's why they always say 101 WKQX. They never say Q101. They don't own the rights to it. Okay.
Up is down, down is up.
I know. Billy Strings don't know him. The Kid Lardy.
Kid
Leroy. Leroy. You like him.
I don't know. I don't like him. I know a song, but I can't name it.
Right. Big Sean. I don't know if I remember him. I don't know who that is. Now I'm looking through it, and I feel like if I read out these names, I'm only on the third line. Jasmine Sullivan. Get a better name. That doesn't even sound cool.
No, that's like...
How does Jasmine Sullivan end up...
Right.
You know, I mean, like, you got somebody
Who's
called...
excited for Jasmine Sullivan?
You got a Dua Lipa, a Doja Cat, and then
MGK.
Jasmine Sullivan? Like
that doesn't even look good on a T-shirt.
She's the Irish Jasmine? Like, what is that?
This is
doesn't
awful.
make any sense. Don Tolliver, no idea.
Again, is that Jasmine's stepson?
Right. Then we have this Charlie XCX. I saw her on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
She doesn't wear any clothes, and she's a bad singer.
Sounds great.
I mean, that's what she is.
Okay.
She is... I watched it. She did 2 songs where she wore barely any clothes. She was just in lingerie.
Okay, I'm okay with
she's
it.
She's a terrible singer, I thought.
I
thought the songs were awful.
Is she good looking?
I don't even think she's that pretty.
Oh, well then.
I think she's
terrible then.
She's pretty enough to wear lingerie on stage. So obviously if I met her in person, I'd be like, all right, she's hot, right?
This is like...
You meet her in person, you're like, she's hot. You put her next to Dua Lipa, she can't stand next to her on stage. That would be a problem.
This is basically just 2 old guys reviewing Lollapalooza 22.
It's terrible. I don't know who any of these people are.
And we used to be in the music industry.
I know. I don't know any.
Right?
I don't even want to read the
My
rest of the names.
favorite name, and I'll always remember it, is the last name on the list because I think I haven't even looked him up, but I don't want to ruin it.
Bucky Cheds.
Bucky Cheds.
I want to see. Yeah. I don't know who Bucky Cheds is, but I dig the name.
Right.
Bring me some Bucky Cheds.
That sounds like something you'd get at the brat stop. Like
hey.
You know what I'm saying? I'll take a spotted cow and give me a side of them Bucky Cheds.
Give me a basket of Bucky Cheds.
Basket. Like, you want them smothered and covered? Absolutely.
Yeah.
With some Bucky Cheds. I don't know what they are, but they serve them in Wisconsin.
I'm hungry for Bucky Cheds right now. I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. Sitting down here joining me today, Gavin Yeaman is the, what are you, Assistant Director?
Assistant Director of Public Works.
Assistant Director of Public Works for the Village of Evergreen Park. And that covers a lot, right? Like you guys are, just pretty much any kind of work going on around the village probably falls underneath that, right?
It does, correct.
Evergreen Park gets designated as Tree City USA. Now they're not the only Tree City, right? This is like something where like this is like a designation that certain places get because of the amount of trees they plant.
Well, there's 4 standards that kind of you have to meet as a city. You have to spend $2 per capita on your tree care. You have to have a Arbor Day celebration and tree care ordinance, and then you have to make a proclamation on Arbor Day, which is coming up. Yeah, we've met this standard for probably the past 10 years that I've been here, but this is the first time we've ever actually gotten through all the application process and received the the moniker of Tree City USA.
Is this a thing that the mayor is kind of pushing? I got the impression Kelly Burke is big into trees. Like there's like she gave you guys a goal of a certain amount of trees she wants planted. Right,
she definitely did. She set us a lofty goal to plant 100 Parkway trees last year, and we actually did that and more. And we're going to plant 100 trees again this year.
Do you get involved in the tree planting, Gavin? Because like I used to work at a landscaping place that I think the Suns still run way out in like Tinley, but I used to work over in Oak Lawn along Cicero when I was a teenager years ago, Bruno Galati Landscaping, and I used to help plant trees. And I used to shovel rocks in the bags. And I was in the best shape of my life, basically carrying trees around and shoveling rocks in the bags, working in landscaping. You ever get to do that?
I don't get to as much anymore, but I definitely have a big part of it. I make all the selections for the trees. Part of the tree program that we did last year with planting the trees, they're free. They're no additional cost to the resident.
Okay.
But part of the catch there is the village decides what tree we're going to plant. So I make all the selections of the trees and run it by the homeowner. We're not going to plant a tree in your parkway that you absolutely hate.
Right.
So I'll work with the homeowner on that to find, get to a resolution there and find a tree that everybody's happy with.
Yeah, I've seen in my life just such a difference in the amount of trees that are in that space between like a sidewalk and the street.
Sure.
And I grew up in Chicago, like 80th and Spalding. And there were 2 trees there that looked like they were like redwoods. They were insane. They were so high, and they didn't even make sense on the block. Like somebody just planted a random tree there. And I always thought, isn't that weird that isn't even their tree? And it's like, the city's actual tree, and somebody decided to like grow that monstrosity. So it's interesting to hear that Evergreen puts a little thought into what they're planting.
Right. I mean, and it's like an evolution process because I don't know how many years ago it was, 40 plus years ago, where there was a lot of elm trees in town, and Dutch elm disease comes and wipes out all the elm trees. Well,
right.
Then all the elm trees are gone, and they go and plant a bunch of ash trees and silver maple trees. And then you have another bug, the emerald ash borer, comes and decimates all the ash trees. So as we're planting, we're trying to put back like a diverse population of trees so that the next pest that targets one type isn't gonna wipe us out.
So then if somebody wants to contact you about trees, or let's say that they're like, you know what? We don't really have one in front of our house. And, we got a little stretch here. We got a blank space. There used to be one. There's not one anymore. Somebody has a question. What's the best way to get out to you?
The best way to call us is to call the street department and talk to Colleen. And if you were looking for a free tree, she will make that notation. Or if you need us to inspect your tree, she'll also handle that too.
I've learned so much about trees. It's the perfect time of year to learn all about them. And Gavin Yeaman, I really appreciate you stopping by here. And anytime you want to talk about trees, man, you let me know.
Awesome. Sounds great.
What was the rabbit's name in Bambi? It was Thumper. What's this called in radio speak? It's called a bumper. It's a bumper.
I had a friend of mine who lost his 17-year-old son in a tragic car accident. 17 years old, driving on the way to school down a 2-lane highway. Car goes out of control. They don't know why. He ends up in front of a semi-truck, head-on collision, and just like that, his only child is gone. And I've been friends with him for nearly 30 years. It's like having a brother, from another mother. And, and for that loss to happen, just awful. And we have a very close-knit group of friends, and we all kind of took turns going out there and being with him. And last week, for the majority of last week, was my turn. Okay, the days leading up to the final services, and that was this past weekend. And then I came back from the already miserable place that is known as Wichita, Kansas. I'm out there in the middle of this whole thing. I'm the shoulder to cry on, the guy who's making sure that they're eating out there and just doing. You never know what to do in that situation. You never know how to help the people that you care about when something this awful has happened. Okay, but while I'm out there, I start seeing that something went viral out of Blue Island. And we have had an establishment in Blue Island that has been running ads not only on this show, but on one of the other podcasts since the beginning of the year. And the owner of the establishment went out in front of his place in a rage and was captured in multiple videos using offensive, hateful, ugly, racist, awful language, making threats, pushing at police officers, and it turned my stomach to even see it. And I don't care how much money the establishment feeds into this podcast network. We don't want it anymore. And one, because it's embarrassing to me to even have us associated. but it's also an embarrassment to anybody else who supports this show or any other show on the network. All these good people that work hard, that I don't want that anywhere near us. You know, this show is inclusive to anybody. Okay, we're all human beings on this planet trying to make it, and that kind of talk and that kind of speech and that kind of carrying on is wrong. And I'm embarrassed that we were even associated with that establishment. We will not be anymore. I had no idea that I was dealing with something like that, but now that I can see it, I'll give the several $1,000s that were still going to come in for the rest of that advertising contract back. Okay, and we'll move forward. But I just want to say, I couldn't believe it. It sucked too. In the middle of dealing with what I was dealing with my friend and everything like that, to see that, and it just made me sick to my stomach. So, we don't control that. People buy advertisements on your show, or if you run a newspaper or a radio station, you don't control that person. That person's paying to be on there. But if I were back in radio, it would be very, very difficult to do what I'm doing right now. But this is ours. This is mine. I can make this decision very easily and just say, nope, we're moving on from that. There are plenty of other people that want to have their ads on this show. And again, I was in shock over the whole thing. It made the week even worse last week. Even though I had nothing to do with it, it just made the week even worse. It made me sick to my stomach. Anyway, I just wanted to come on real quick, let you know that we talked about it here. We know about it. And I wish I could have said something to you sooner. It's a once a week show, and we had already posted the show, and I had left to get on a plane. But rest assured, that is handled and taken care of, and we will continue to cover all of the South Side right here at Southside Pod, found anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at southsidepod.com. It is now time for your Southside Pod Bulletin Board. It is brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard. Cool Clouds wants to give you an alternative. Check out their full taster bar and all they have to offer, 3837 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park, or visit them online at coolcloudsvapor.com. Palos Hills is offering a summer day camp for kids in grades kindergarten through 7 and a tot camp for 3 to 4-year-olds. It starts on June the 6th, but registration is now open. Look, at some point these kids are going to be out of school, and do you really want to spend the entire day with them? Camp's going to be held at the Palos Hills Community Center, 8455 West 103rd Street. There is a resident and non-residential fee. If you want more information, check out everything in Palos Hills at paloshillsweb.org. Yeah, they have the word web inside of their web address. They probably still have a net zero email account too. The Palos Area Chamber Golf Outing is coming up June 23rd at Oak Hills, and now is the time to figure out if you're going to do a sponsorship or sign up. 9 holes of golf. Of course, there's going to be cocktails and networking and dinner. Capri is catering, so that's good food. If you want to learn more, sponsorship, reserve a spot, donate a raffle prize, whatever, 708-205-2983. Lamont High School is offering a summer youth sports camp for kids. They've got everything from baseball, basketball, cheerleading, football, softball, volleyball, wrestling. Boys and girls, basically most grades start at kindergarten and go through 8th. Get more information, find out how to sign up. Call Deb at 630-243-3207. As for events and concerts and things you can do this weekend, it's Easter. As my mother would say, get to church, you need some Jesus. If you have anything you ever want to tell us about to get on the bulletin board, make sure you reach out to us. You can send us a message, leave us a voicemail at southsidepod.com. So we got invited to an art fest.
Okay.
No, seriously. I'm going to go.
What kind of art first?
It's a fest for artists.
I got that by Art Fest,
I know.
by the way.
I don't know how to say this. Like when you say Art Fest, I think people just think it's just paintings, or it's just...
That's why I asked, what is the medium?
Right. It's like one of these festivals
media
where any kind of art, okay? Like
That's
you do
broad.
crafts, you do paintings.
What's a craft fair?
Make stuff. Exactly.
Okay, don't say Art Fest and try to make it like...
It's called Mai Fest.
Okay, well,
in
you
Blue
make
Island.
it sound like it's some hoity-toity thing when it's...
This supposedly runs through that area in Blue Island where Rock Island Public House, Blue Island Beer Company, that section that's right there. And it's like next to the big bridge.
Yeah, Old Western
Road. Yeah, Old Western Avenue.
Yes.
Okay. So this thing is going to be happening coming up at the end of April.
Okay.
And I'm in Blue Island Beer Company a week or so ago. And you can hear me talking with Al over there, who I think was either extremely tired or was testing beer all day long. Like, you can tell if you're listening to the thing.
Okay.
It was like one of those interviews. I was asking the question. I was like, I don't think he understands what I'm saying to him.
We'll have to go back and listen to that
I
one.
love Al. Like, I love him. But I was like, yeah, they're the wordiest questions I've ever asked to somebody. Because as I was asking the question, I was realizing I have to say it a second way. Because he's not figuring out what I'm
sound like
saying.
the Windows restart sound after you
exactly.
asked it.
I'm like, woo, that's all he hears, right? I'm just trying to get him to pick up some key words, okay? But anyway, and that's what I would be like if I owned a brewery. But he introduces me to this guy who runs this fest. The guy sits down, has a beer with me and Erica. By the time it was over, he's like, I want Southside Pod out there. I want you guys to come out. I'm like, I'll go to anything.
We're art.
Yeah, we are art. I think a podcast is like art.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you're opening up to all art, this is definitely
This is an art form.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I mean, like, we're gonna go. I'm gonna get a little tent. I'm gonna hand out some stuff. Give out some koozies.
Are you gonna make it? Are you gonna do any
paintings
paintings or anything? Maybe.
Do you want to paint?
No.
I don't want to paint.
Oh, okay.
Do we have like my daughter can do the face painting thing for kids.
Okay.
Maybe we'll make it a face
There's
painting.
probably not a lot of things there for kids, so that might be
Maybe
good.
we'll have Mike sit out there and play guitar.
You don't want to draw people away from the booth.
Like, we'll just have Mike, the incredible Mike, and his 5 chords. Like, that's what we'll do. We'll do a big side.
All right.
Come meet the incredible acoustic Mike and his 5. Does he have 5 chords?
I don't know.
Okay.
He has.
We'll check. I know he has 3.
Right.
Let's just say 4 chords. 4 chords with acoustic mic. Come hear the 4 different chords. Watch a man use 4 chords.
4 chords.
to
Amazingly used.
all
4
kinds
chords.
of different songs and riffs, but they're always the same 4 chords.
In just different order. It's art.
It's art. That's art right
It
there.
is
man.
art.
That's some high
Anything
level art.
could be
is what
art.
that is. That's some high level art right there. That's
We're gonna
exactly
have a
what
tent
that is.
with Mike and possibly face painting and koozies.
Yeah. All kidding aside, Mai Fest is going to be huge in Blue Island. We were talking about it on the last episode. If you missed it, go back and listen. John Streets, the organizer, talked about this massive, several block, huge fair that's going to be going on. Southside Pod's going to be there. It is on the 30th of April, 12 p.m. till 5 p.m. Get out there for maypoles and artists and crafters and craft beer and good eats and a live DJ, music, and so much more. Celebrate the spring, shop for Mother's Day, enjoy the vibe, visit Southside Pod. We'll have stuff to give away. It's on Old Western Avenue. I believe we're going to be sitting right in between, like where Rock Island Public House would be and Blue Island Beer Company. Like, we're in the thick of it. Right now, there's officially over 60 local artisans that are going to be out there. And as John said on the episode last week, again, go back, listen to it. It was a great interview. He really gets into it. He might get up to 90 by the time this thing happens later on this month. April 30th kicks off at noon. You want more details? Check it out on Facebook right now. Look through the Blue Island Art Alliance page. So go to facebook.com/Blue Island Arts Alliance, or just look up Blue Island Arts Alliance. Get more details. We will see you out there April 30th in Blue Island. I like to brag about my kids.
You like to brag about everything.
Oh, come on.
You are braggadocious, but that's
You think
okay.
I'm braggy?
A little bit.
See, I don't want to be braggy.
That's what makes you a good host, I feel.
I feel like it's more storytelling when I'm doing it.
Yeah, but you got that air of...
Of what? I'm not that special. I do a podcast in my basement. Look, oh yeah, I've accomplished so much. Look at me. I'm sitting in my basement talking to a guy who I used to do morning radio with in college, like 30 years ago.
You know that you can command a room. You know that you can. You have a boisterous, loud voice.
I don't feel that way though. I don't feel that way.
Well, that's why I'm letting you know.
The little boy inside of me still thinks that he's like a wallflower nerd. Like I don't feel that way.
I'm letting you know.
Okay, so you're telling me that this is people think I'm an asshole.
No.
Okay, who's braggy? That's what you're telling me?
No, not at all.
Because you're not the first person to tell me this in the last couple of weeks.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, you've always been a little full of yourself, and that's not.
But
bad.
I don't like being full
No
of
one
myself.
that does that knows they are.
I don't like doing it. See, I guess I just like, I get proud of my kids. I like to brag about them.
No, absolutely.
I'm not going to do it anymore. No, I don't know what we're going to talk about on this show.
No, I'm
anymore.
going to brag about my kids too.
I brag
Fine.
about them. Like
That's okay.
But
my point was that that's not the only thing you brag about.
What else do I brag about?
Girls that have hit on you on trains and planes.
Who doesn't brag about girls that hit
You're
on them?
married.
I'm a 45-year-old man. I like to know that it's still like I still got it.
Like things like I don't know. Let's just go to the story. Tell me about your children and how great they are.
I don't want to talk about my kids. I don't know what I want to talk about anymore. There's nothing left in the show.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a thing.
All right.
It's
All right.
okay.
I'll work on it.
If I thought you were an a-hole, I wouldn't be here right now. But I am.
Are you
I
kidding
know
me?
I can reel you in a little bit.
You are attracted to a-holes.
I know.
You've surrounded yourself.
That's my thing with guys.
You've surrounded yourself with a-holes your entire life.
Because I like a challenge. And I've been known to be able to reel them in.
Thank you for listening to see what's happening on the Southside Pod. On the Southside Pod. Join us again and be sure to tell a friend about the Southside Pod. About the Southside Pod. All things about the neighborhood we live in. All things about the places that we go. It's the best side of Chicago, the South Side Pod.
How was the, never mind.
I was a what?
I was going to,
No, ask me.
what?
What were you going to ask me? You were going to start off a conversation.
I was.
I always start all the
But it's
conversations.
probably not going to be good.
No, go for it. We'll see what happens.
I'm okay. It's all
No,
right.
I want to hear what you. How was it?
No. I don't want to embarrass you.
No, you can embarrass me. It's okay. You didn't have anything to say, did you?
No.